I would rather be a superb meteor, every atom of me in magnificent glow, than a sleepy and permanent planet. You can't wait for inspiration. You have to go after it with a club. I'd rather sing one wild song and burst my heart with it, than live 1,000 years watching my digestion and being afraid of the wet. The wild still lingered in him and the wolf in him merely slept. A bone to the dog is not charity. Charity is the bone shared with the dog, when you are just as hungry as the dog. Don't loaf and invite inspiration, light out after it with a club. Life is not always a matter of holding good cards, but sometimes, playing a poor hand well. Show me a man with a tattoo and I'll show you a man with an interesting past. To be able to forget means sanity. Intelligent men are cruel. Stupid men are monstrously cruel. It's better to stand by someone's side than by yourself. As one grows weaker, one is less susceptible to suffering. There is less hurt because there is less to hurt. But I am I and I won't subordinate my taste to the unanimous judgment of mankind. Love, genuine passionate love, was his for the first time. He was a silent fury who no torment could tame. White Fang knew the law well, to oppress the weak and obey the strong. He was a killer, a thing that preyed, living on the things that lived, unaided, alone, by virtue of his own strength and prowess, surviving triumphantly in a hostile environment where only the strong survive. Fear urged him to go back, but growth drove him on. A man with a club, bat, is a lawmaker, a man to be obeyed, but not necessarily conciliated. This expression of abandon and surrender, of absolute trust, he reserved for the master alone. No, sir. Go to hell, sir. It's the best I can do for you, sir. He was sounding the deeps of his nature, and of the parts of his nature that were deeper than he, going back into the womb of time. And at the instant he knew, he ceased to know. The function of man is to live, not to exist. The ghostly winter silence had given way to the great spring murmur of awakening life. My mistake was in ever opening the books. So that was the way. No fair play. Once down, that was the end of you. They were not half living, or quarter living. They were simply so many bags of bones in which sparks of life fluttered faintly. You stand on dead men's legs. You've never had any of your own. You couldn't walk alone between two sunrises and hustle the meat for your belly. He was a man without a past, whose future was the imminent grave and whose present was a bitter fever of living. It was the worst hurt he had ever known. I was jealous, therefore I loved. Food and fire, protection and companionship, were some of the things he received from the god. In return, he guarded the god's property, defended his body, worked for him, and obeyed him. He had been suddenly jerked from the heart of civilization and flung into the heart of things primordial. The press of the United States? It is a parasitic growth that battens on the capitalist class. Its function is to serve the established by molding public opinion, and right well it serves it. Having no new companions, nothing remained for him but to read. He had killed man, the noblest game of all, and he had killed in the face of the law of club and fang. But the wild is the wild, and motherhood is motherhood, at all times fiercely protective whether in the wild or out of it. Thus it was that in obedience to the law laid down by his mother, and in obedience to the law of that unknown and nameless thing, fear, he kept away from the mouth of the cave. Every book was a peephole into the realm of knowledge. His hunger fed upon what he read, and increased. He was justifying his existence, than which life can do no greater, for life achieves its summit when it does to the uttermost that which it was equipped to do. Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but sometimes playing a poor hand well. Growth is life, and life is forever destined to make for light.